It is Destination Newry. It is the morning programme reaching out across the planet. And you bring it, Peter Maxwell of the Newry and Portadown branch of the Inland Waterways Association of Ireland. His weekly visit to studio here, one of his members, there's a constancy of presence of the branch, and we're delighted with that, Peter. And ongoingly you hack away at the great massif that is the Canal Challenge.
Indeed, that's just how best description for it. It's a challenge. It certainly is one.
What did the week hold that has gone by?
Well, as regarding the inland canal, we've been busy working away at the gates, but we'll just go on to the ship canal, I think, very first.
Yeah.
The Greenway, the Great Eastern Greenway, the extension of it up through Newry. I was at a meeting it's actually about the Albert Basin, the land, the Middle Bank, about what to do with that. Mm-hmm. And we were told that there's funding in place, 416,000 in place for doing the cycle track and footpath.
So that runs from the Albert Basin down to the Victoria Loch?
Yes.
Yeah. Any further?
Its idea is to go as far as the border.
Yeah, but that money that you speak of, what's that to cover?
Well, now that's a good question. What's it to cover, indeed? I was approached also by a firm of consultants for my opinions on the Greenway, which is to be split into 3 sections, they tell me. That's from the Middle Bank to the Weir, you know, the overflow Weir.
Surely.
And from the Weir to the Loch, the Albert Loch, Victoria Loch, and then from the Loch to the border.
Yes.
So it's 3 separate sections. So one would assume the money available at the moment is for the first section as far as the Weir.
Yeah.
But as we've discussed before, the part of the Middle Bank, the bank embankments collapsed. Heaven knows why, possibly old age, but certainly the people have been using speedboats in it again, despite having appealed with the council to enforce their own bylaws. So anyway, I asked one of the officials about what was going to happen about that repair to the bank, and he said, well, that's what part of the 416,000 for.
They're still, and that, of course, the application for the 100,000 was in ahead of the damage, so it wouldn't necessarily have been coming.
The bank needed to be repaired or improved before the bath could have gone ahead, but now it needs more improvement. I don't know the timeline about the application, so I don't know how much of it's going to be left to actually put a proper footpath or cycle track in.
Let us do something here that will keep our conscience right.
Oh, I don't know about
that. But we
that.
will tell those people out there who have responsibility for the canal. There is a reason, a scientific reason, for not using speedboats on the Newry Canal. It's a very simple reason.
Oh yes, very, very simple.
Speedboats put up a wake, a movement of water out to the sides, hitting the bank and the banks. That hitting of the banks will erode the banks and cause the banks to collapse. In some measure, that's what happened here at this damage. So you must enforce your own bylaw, Newry Mourne and Down Council. Yeah. You must stop people speeding. 4 miles an hour is enough. And do not organise and orchestrate events of entertainment on the canal that requires speedboats.
That's what it amounts to. I know the use of these wet bikes and things it's exciting, it's interesting, and the kids enjoy it. But there's an important bit of heritage. But more to the point is the ratepayers are paying for that. This huge amount of money that has to be spent, and it will have to be spent the more that it gets used. If anyone wants the scientific knowledge, the size of the waves increases with the square of the speed of the boat.
Yeah.
And their depth that they affect to it. It's not just on the surface. It's not the bit you see going up the wall. Yeah. It's the depth down the bank. It can be 2.5 times the distance between the waves. So if the waves are this far apart, it's actually affecting a depth of 7 feet.
So let's go slightly biblical here. There's a surprise for you.
That's not my best subject, Rowan.
Is there out there one just and caring man who will save the banks of the canal and who will take it within council as a special interest to make sure that the speed limit is enforced? Because it is doing the damage. Then we haven't even commenced to mention the mooring chicks and hens and the ducks along the bank. Their nesting time is here, and their nests are being destroyed.
And that's...
So we do hope you love and get good fun from your carnival of gavotte up and down the canal. But for God's sake, would you slow it down?
Yeah, That's all we ask for, you know, because the speed limit is there for a specific reason.
And to the council's credit, they have the bylaw.
Oh yes, it's in place, it's in force.
I suppose they could start by putting a couple of notices up.
Well, that wouldn't do any harm, would it, Rowan? We have asked for notices, you know, we have asked for notices.
Listen, dear council, you are committed to the canal. We know this. You see in these people, because you're working with them, the canal, the Newry and Portadown branch of the Inland Waterways Association of Ireland, you know they're doing good work because you work with them. Listen to them and try and preserve our ancient and important waterway. Otherwise, the whole lot's going to tiddle away over a period of time. You know, if it's speedboats today, it's speedboats and jet skis tomorrow. You've got to stop it, haven't they?
Yes, yes. I specifically wanted jet skis banned from the canal.
Yeah.
At the meetings we had discussing the bylaws.
They should be. They've no place on the canal.
The comment made to me was, who would ever want to put one on the canal? Now, that's not a good enough reason for banning them, right? But I mean, you know, they should be banned because they are a nuisance, but and also do terrible damage. But that was the attitude at the time, and yet you see them on the canal.
No jet skis on the canal.
No.
No, none. Let it stop. Let it stop now. No speedboats on the canal. If we've done nothing else this morning, we've made that very clear.
Well, we hope so, Rowan, but whether it'll be listened to or not, because I've been on about this for 3-4 years. Remember, we discussed it when someone popped a speedboat in. It must be 5 years ago, possibly.
Yeah. There's so much more fun to be had in slowing the pace down to meet the way of canals.
Rowan, that's you and I are getting old. When we appreciate the slowing down on the canals, but younger people want to do things faster. I was as bad when I was young. Vroom, yes.
Vroom.
Cars and speedboats and things, but not on canals and rivers, mind you.
No. Yeah. Right, we've dealt with the ship canal.
Yes.
How are things on the inland navigation?
Well, we're still working away at the gates up at the workshop, and I think they have some photographs.
Yeah, we're maybe seeing those, are we?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll. Oh yes.
Yes.
I forgot they wouldn't be on the big screen.
Yeah.
Yes, these are the timbers, the heel posts made of oak.
They're done now.
They're curved, yes, and they're all made and drilled and everything, and all ready to go on. And then as we flick through them, there's various stages. This is some of the workers that we have here.
Yes.
And the girl on the right is Tanya Duffy. She's from about Warren Point. She works for Norbrook. But she's been down helping us, and she's a great help. Some of the men won't come down because they think it's highly skilled work.
Oh, yeah.
And it is sort of skilled work, but there's Tanya, you can see her there now marking out some of the plates for drilling and boring. And I think the next shot shows her using what's called a rotobore magnetic drill.
Wow, that's the one that clamps.
That's what clamps onto the steel. Now, she'd never used one of those before.
Yeah.
And there she is. She's quite happily left to herself.
A mighty woman.
Oh, she is indeed. She's a great girl.
Absolutely.
And this one has the gates, one of the gates, the framework tacked into position. And Pat Watson, I think it is in the background, is using a grinder there to cut off the next bits. And that's another one of them set up there.
Yeah.
And then we have the big welding weekend we had just over a week ago. We have a couple of the guys welding there. We're using 2 different welders. And we got them all welded up over the one weekend. And then this is, you can see one here with the steel plates in place, and that's the gate basically there. It just needs the timber post bolted onto the side of it, cut the holes for the sluices, which we're in the process of doing. Later on today, we're up there doing that. Slap a coat of paint on them, and we'll be there. So that's all 4 of them are in that same condition now.
Are there hearts in your mouths moments when you do the cut out of that, and it's if you've got it wrong, it's big time wrong?
Well, it's not as bad as timber.
Yes.
Timber is a problem. Once you've cut a bit of wood, you're in real trouble. Yeah. But at least the steel, you can always weld a bit onto it. It mightn't look the best, but we haven't had to do that so far.
Is there a nostalgia for you here when you're doing this work on the gates with steel? A nostalgia that brings you back to the time of your building, your magnificent boat, Mithril, which took you and Geraldine around the world?
Oh yes, there's a certain amount of nostalgia, but it's also the knowledge gained from doing that boat that we're using here, you know. But I mean, no, it's steel, but it's completely different. I mean, there's no. We made the frames for the boat just in a pile, and it didn't look like a boat at all. Yeah. But as soon as we set them up on a building bed, you could see the shape. the shape
Yeah,
of the boat.
the boat
And,
was
you know,
there.
that was marked. Whereas these gates, once you get that frame welded up, that's the gate. You can see, you can envisage it, you know, visualize it.
What are the guys in Dublin saying to you about all of this? Because nowhere on the island can this kind of branch work be going on.
Well, the Boyne branch are putting lock gates on,
Yes.
which they are sort of making themselves. They're getting the steel cores
Yes.
fabricated in the steel works, and then they're doing they did do the joinery work on the sea lock at Old Bridge, but the next one they're getting somebody else to do the joinery work. The people in Dublin, I think, are concerned that we can't do it. I think that's the best description.
They obviously don't know you.
Well, they don't. It's not just me. I mean,
Oh, I know that.
The
but
turnout
you're
we get is
I
marvelous.
unashamedly regard you as the captain of the ship because you've got the experience. It's
Well, yes, I
It's
do,
no
yes.
plumos to you. You have the experience, and you're guiding people on the basis of that
Well,
experience.
yeah, I have the experience. Also have the I don't know what you call it, but the will to go ahead on it
Yeah,
and start
yeah.
the job. Now, Pat Watson, who did most of the welding, I mean, I can't weld like that.
Yeah.
You know. And we had another fellow, Barry Burns, from the Eastern Sawmills. He did a lot of the welding as well.
Yes.
I mean, I can weld.
Yeah.
Because when we built the steel boat, I didn't weld it myself. I had more sense than to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no, it's the group of people we have that are willing to take on the job and the commitment. We've done now
is-
in the
yeah.
nearly 500 hours
Yeah.
in them, you know.
It's that commitment that's grabbing my attention most of all, because we can all have enthusiasms for the moment, the day, the month, the week, but this is going on month on month and month.
Well, it's not that bad, Rowan.
But not not the gates alone, but your care of the
right,
waterway.
right.
No. You're moving from season to season in tandem with the ways of nature. And
Yes.
the enthusiasm continues.
Oh, yes, because there are some people don't come down to work on the gates, but they've been busy gardening all winter, you know, and the whole thing is it's a whole group of people doing different things
Yes.
at the same time. There are cycle rides every Tuesday with these bikes from the Southern Health Trust,
Yeah.
Cycle for Health or something it's called.
Yeah, which is good.
And then we have the Sluice Keeper's Cottage. We have the signage coming this afternoon for that, for the exterior of it. That'll brighten it up a bit. And we have another chap, Ashley Peel, who's taken over the displays inside as well.
Yes.
He's organising all the displays.
Fantastic.
I have mentioned to you before, I must bring them in actually. We have also got Richard Castles, the guy who he basically wrote an essay on how to build a canal.
Yeah.
That
Isn't Castle's a wonderful canal name?
Well, it's a strange thing because his name wasn't really Richard Castles, you see. He was called, I can't remember, and I would have to have the book. He was called something Ricardo because actually he was of Italian extraction.
Wow.
And he called himself Castles, same as Brian Castles, Cassels.
Yeah.
But then he changed his name to Castles, as in the English spelling of a castle.
Yes.
That was because he went into designing large properties in Dublin. The Rotunda Hospital.
What a good
Leinster
name for a
House,
designer of big
Carlton
houses.
House.
Yes.
So yes, I thought it was a very apt name. But anyway, he did an essay on. It was a give us a job essay, is what it was, to build the canal. When they were starting the Newry Canal in 1730 or something, he wrote this
it
essay,
would have been.
and it was quite hard to read because of his, fancy writing and F's
yes.
instead of S's,
Yes.
the usual stuff in those. So we've transcribed that now, and have it published
My goodness.
in a little book that's available for £5. And we have another one that is the Brownrigg report done in 1805 on the repairs to the canal, or suggested repairs to the canal by Brownrigg, and that's also been transcribed and published.
But quite apart from, and obviously, quite apart from the physicality of what you're putting in place on the canal, you're expanding the knowledge base in association with the waterway.
Yes, we are indeed now. It's unfortunate you're heading off, and as I know, in a few weeks' time, because the mobile phone app, we have it nearly ready. It's about 3/4 of the way through, all the copy and everything, all the photographs, and so that will be getting the speech put onto it in May.
Yes.
And then it will be. We hope to have it released by the 13th of May. when
Was there
we
something
open
I
the
had to
cottage.
do in that?
We'd hoped that you'd be able to do some of the voiceover.
Have we got the script?
No, I haven't yet. You see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to be away.
Ah, that's a
for
pity.
it. It is a pity. But what we are now doing, because we knew you were going away, is we're going to get it split up between about 8 of our members
Yes.
and keep it in house.
Maybe a better thing to do.
Well, it depends. It's more brings it more to a personal level now. You know.
It does.
Yeah, it does do
it
that.
does.
You know. But then you've got a very clear voice. You see. You know.
And also a most intimate association with
well,
the canal.
certainly you have for
You
years
know,
now. Yes.
For years now.
Yes, yes.
I so loved our days on the canal. Donnelly had his house down on the banks of the canal. We kept creatures on the middle bank. We kept goats.
Oh! Oh, I thought maybe you meant female creatures. I thought that's very disrespectful to the opposite sex.
Would I do that? Would I do such a thing? But we had goats. We had I got a swan the other day on it. I was.
Was it tasty?
Swans are safe from me.
Oh,
but
right.
the swan had to be recorded. Did I tell you last week? I maybe did.
I think you mentioned
Yeah,
yes, you got
we
one.
got
of
it
them
back in
yeah.
again.
Oh yes,
It's,
it was stuck on the walkway.
walkway, yeah. But even it's amazing what happened. And then there was the morning. I was coming in here, 5 o'clock in the morning, and Monaghan Street was awash with the rain of the night before. It was still wet, and there was the lamplight was there on the street, standing in the middle of the road outside. The halfway up Monaghan Street, the Armagh Down bar in the middle of the road, to Heron Cran.
Oh right.
Well, they're standing there. So I reckon they must have thought their reflections was their reflection in the water.
Possibly yes. Yes.
But you
indeed,
guys,
yeah,
in doing what you're doing, you're as patient and as stoical as the Cran when you're there doing your work.
Oh no, it wouldn't be. We wouldn't. No. That's. Oh, well, he said that was council workers. No. I wouldn't say that. No, they don't. No, they work very hard along the canal.
Yeah. But
no, that's like a standing joke, isn't it?
us,
You know.
Yeah.
No, I don't mean
yeah.
it. I don't mean it personally to the guys who work on the canal. They do a great job.
Someone once said when we were talking about the canal at the beginning that the bridges were so low and impassable that even the swans had to get out and walk around, you know.
They certainly have to duck their necks.
Exactly.
Yes.
But it's still navigable in canoe as far as, dare I say, Sugar Island, if you think about it.
Oh yes, you can get as far as
Now,
Sugar
Sugar Island,
yeah,
she's
yeah.
boom, she's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
She's down, you've got 6 inches if you have anything. But if you're going under any of the other bridges, you can lie back in the canoe
That's right.
and hand your way through, hand over hand, pushing yourself through. But I still come back to something that no one seems to care about it on the canal. Now, you had a concern at the beginning not to have it as an ornamental pond in the middle of Newry.
Yes.
Now, I defy anyone to tell me, well, it could be done, but not done easily. How a father of 2 children, maybe, can bring his canoe down on top of his car, park the car momentarily or over in one of the bays, take the canoe off, the young fellows helping him with the canoe over, and then get the canoe onto the water. There are no gates.
No, up in the town there are no gates. No,
They're not. And there is a small gate that size that's locked.
Yes.
So it is an ornamental pond at the moment.
It is, yes. It's an awful shame, but we were afraid of it being a shallow ornamental pond that you would never be able to get a boat into. Now it wasn't dredged, and like we had pushed them to dredge it first because now putting machinery on to dredge.
It's impossible.
Well, you'd ruin the lovely boulevard, whatever you want to call it. But the other problem is we've discovered now is you've got to be very careful dredging because of the embankment on the far side.
Yeah.
You know, all the way up through the town.
Dredging, we'll get away with the dredging thing. We'll manage. But I mean, I
But you could still launch at those steps down at the quays.
Oh yeah.
And come up.
Yeah, and come up under the bridge and whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is there's one mooring point halfway up on this side, maybe 2.
Oh, there are several
Maybe,
rings.
but they're
a strange distance apart
and not suitable.
No, but
so no one has advised. No one has said to these people, "This is what you do when you're seriously developing a waterway for use."
We asked for the moorings points to be put in.
Yeah.
Right, because we were afraid that they would have to start cutting up the stones to get the moorings in. But actually, the way they've done them, they can be fitted at any time in the future.
that's
Similar
good.
design.
That's good.
Yeah, so
That's
we're pleased enough to see that. And this is why we didn't make a big
Yeah.
fuss about there not being enough,
Yeah,
because it'd be easy enough to put more in if people did want to bring the boat
Absolutely.
up. But the thing is that you have this problem if you're a council. Do you make the water accessible or do you make it safe?
Yeah.
You can't really have both unless somebody somewhere has a key and lets you in and out, or issues a key to people who are responsible. How do you decide whether they're responsible or not? Will they lock the gate after them? You know, I mean, it isn't a problem for the councils.
If I were a councillor, I'd be saying, fellow members, we're not in a nanny state.
Yes.
We have a community out there that we serve. We respect that community. We know that that community wishes to use the waterway, and we must allow them to do so in a responsible way. We must assume that they're mature enough to do it responsibly. And that,
I agree
that
with
takes
you.
the nanny state out of it.
I mean, there
you
shouldn't
know.
be railings along there at all. I mean,
No.
are there railings around Conlingford Harbour?
No, none.
It's a big drop in which in case you hit your head at low tide, or you
Absolutely.
could drown at high tide.
Yeah.
But in the middle of the town here, they have it railings
Yeah.
all the way along, which is a shame. We asked for no railings, but of course that was.
I
was
can
a
take you
no-no.
to towns in the Republic of Ireland, on the canals of the Republic of Ireland, and I'll show you wharfs and jetties with no rails. No rails.
yeah,
But let's not decry the good progress that's
Oh no,
been
it's
made.
beautiful. It's beautiful
Stop
the
it.
job that's
It
done.
is,
You know,
it
oh, it
is.
certainly is. It's just a pity about the access. You know.
Access is that bit difficult, and again, maybe we'll find, is there 10 just men or one just man out there in that city of nautical Gomorrah that will actually make things right?
I wouldn't say that. No, they're doing a great job, but maybe we might see some changes with the councils.
Perhaps because we're
amalgamating.
bringing the influence of Strangford over.
Well, yes, you must
We're
be.
bringing
to
the
a great
influence of
extent,
our
yes.
glass over.
Yes,
So
yes.
here are men of water. The men of water from Newry have forgotten that their fathers and grandfathers were men of
yes,
water.
yes,
They have.
yes.
But it's all up for grabs. Peter, thank you. Anything you want to say to me?
No, and I think we've just about covered everything there
I
today.
think so.
Yes.
Will we see you next week?
You'll see somebody next week.
This is
I don't
joyful,
intend it to be me. I intend
No.
somebody else. Will
This is a
get along.
joyful circumstance.
Good.
Thank you very much indeed. Take
Right,
care.
all right.
Peter Maxwell of the Newry and Portadown branch, the Inland Waterways Association of Ireland.